The UEFA Champions League produced something spectacular. We saw interesting results, exciting games, quality goals, but there was one dark moment in the game, and that's what none of us here or no sane person should stand with. That word is racism. Vinicius Jr. allegedly, like they say, suffered racism in that match against Benfica. Investigations are still going on. We'll get to find out if it's true or not. And in the course of the week as well, dark days in the NPFL where Kwara United fans coached the field, injured, many things for the opposition players just because Rivers United scored a late equalizer. That is not the kind of image we want for our NPFL. But in the same vein, the league still continues this weekend. And of course, the Premier League, the La Liga, the Serie A, Premium Sports on PBO TV. My name is Boluwati Tony Shola Omoni. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, it will be time for News Beats. Welcome back from that break. It's still Premium Sport on PBO TV. My name still remains Boluwati Tony Shola Omoni. It's time for News Beats, and of course, just like we've been doing for a few editions, that will start from martial arts, where former two-time middleweight champion Israel Adesanya has described his upcoming fight against Joe Pyfer at the UFC Fight Night 271 in Seattle on the 28th of March as the biggest of his life, insisting he returns from a year out of the octagon feeling unstoppable. Adesanya, who enters the bout on the 3-fight losing streak, said the stakes of the Pyfer matchup is beyond an immediate result. So remember, Adesanya has been talking a lot this period, and he's spoken about how 2027 may be his final fight. So if you're a big martial art fighter, a fan, and you love Israel Adesanya, just make sure you watch his fights, or else you don't know the one that would be the last. Still in fights this time for boxing, Nigerian heavyweight contender Ifeanyi Jagba has called out Alexander Usyk, Deontay Wilder, and Tyson Fury days after brutally stopping former IBF heavyweight champion Charles Martin in the 4th round of his Zuffa boxing debut in Las Vegas. Jagba dropped Martin in the 3rd round with the devastating right hand before finishing the job early in the 4th. With referee Thomas Taylor waving off the contest at 1 minute 11 seconds after a barrage of rights left the American helpless on the canvas. Well, I've said it below times, when Ifeanyi Jagba joined the top agency, I thought he would be getting even more top quality fights and all. Maybe it's the agency, maybe it's the boxing world. I don't rate him that much. He's got about 21 wins in 23 fights. 15 of them were knockouts. Expect him to be having maybe title fights. But again, what do I know? I'm not the one that make those calls. But normally I'm supposed to do this in the next segment. But let me bring in my partner for today's show to put maybe an insight on the Israel and the Ifeanyi Jagba thing. I'm in the studio today with Pedro Peter. Pedro, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine.
So what's your take on Ifeanyi Jagba? I thought you should be having maybe more elite fights, getting title attempts, but it's not forthcoming. Is it him or the boxing world that don't reach him, or is agency are not doing enough to get him quality fights?
Maybe it might be a bit of his own management and of course the organization, probably the IBO, IBF, WBC, WBO, just depending on which of the organizations he's actually fighting under. Because Jagba has been around for a while, for not just any short while, a very long while. So I'll say about 6-7 years of actively engaging in top heavyweight bouts. So normally I feel by this time he should be eyeing a title shot. At least even if you're not having a first title shot, at least to be the number 1 contender for that belt whenever it is whenever it comes vacant, or probably the incumbent has to take on somebody as the way it is in the rules. But I don't know, probably his management, they are not actually, I don't know, maybe pressing the right buttons, I don't know. But I feel he has come of age now. It is now time he looks forward to something else, because in this sport, fine, you will get all the money, but you have to create a legacy for yourself. We talk about the likes of Canelo Alvarez. If you do not know Canelo Alvarez, you may say, okay, he's a boxer, but it's not just any boxer. He's a boxer that is a champion across 4 weight divisions and counting. So imagine being world champion in this division. You say, okay, this one is, let me go. across board like that. So you just have to create a name for yourself. Definitely now it's comfortable at least. But of course, when you go for the title fight, you get more bigger juices. You get a bigger share of the pie. Yeah, both financially and the like. So I think his own management, I don't know, they will have to think outside of the box to put him in, because some of his other contemporaries, some of his other peers, trust me, they do not they do not stay this long before lining themselves up for title fights and all that. So he too has to, I don't know, he has to be in the mix. Enough of a fight with unknown elements.
Well,
The-
for those managing a Jaguar, Pedro has given you what he thinks is the best advice. Do the best you can to get a top level fight, and even if he doesn't get to win the belt, but at least you know he's fighting for it. Hopefully, they learn before he hits 40, the age where he obviously will not be able to do anything. That's the news bit. We have many exciting stories in the Niger flavor, but one Nigerian athlete has been banned for 3 years. Welcome back from that break. It's still Premium Sport on PBO TV. Yeah, my name is Mbolo Atutonishola Omodi. And we have a few interesting things and not so good news. Let's start with what happened in midweek in the NPFL. Welcome United. Shamsuddin scored for them in the 31st minute or thereabouts. Then they considered in the 93rd minute. Thanks to defensive error, the goalkeeper off. Then the fans decided to cause trouble after the final whistle. I think the general manager of Rivers United was brutalized, players, officials, and all. That's badder than bad. I say it all the time. There's no place for things like that in our sport. And I think anyone who does that deserves every stick he or she gets. This one was embarrassing for me. And then because of the spoke with the chairman of the NPFL board, he was distraught, he was angry and everything. And he said definitely sanctions would come for them. Now, I like that less than 12 hours later, the club released an official statement distancing themselves from the crowd disturbance that followed after that match. It was a rescheduled game though, but whatever happens, it was silly. Eyimba last week he lost at home to Korodu United. Nothing happened. You don't like it as a fan, and if you want to fight, why not fight? Why not beat your players? It makes no sense. I remember when Super Eagles lost in Lagos to Central African Republic. And what we do, what fans do in the stadium is all they can. They boo the players, our players, they can abuse them, but you don't go attacking people and everything. I've been saying it for long. I hope nobody dies on the field before we realize this nonsense we are doing is dangerous. And in the course of our conversation with Elegbe, I said, when we spoke about one of the harsher punishments, instead of only slap on the wrist, he said they have a framework they plan every year that maybe at the start of next season they will decide to increase the punishments for them. But there are still PFL matches for this weekend. In Abia Warriors will take on the Aqua United. In Lagos here, Ikorodu City will play against Bayelsa United. There's a northern derby between Canopias and El Kanemi Warriors. In Owerri, it's called Khalifa versus Niger Tornadoes. Katsina United will host the Enugu Rangers. Nassau United will play against Bendel Insurance. Rivers United and Eyimba, that will be a very, very exciting game. They call it the Finidi John Derby. Rivers United are 2 points behind. They are 2 points behind top of the table, and they have about 4 games outstanding. To take something magical to stop them from winning. They will be playing against Eyimba, who are going through a lot this season. Warrior Wolves will play against Barao FC. Barao FC coach as well last weekend. Embarrassing video. They asked you about tactics. You are ranting. You beat the journalists. Blah blah blah. I think our coaches, everyone needs to do better, more trainings and everything. Now they are going away to take on Warrior Wolves. Wiki Tourist who play defending champions who are swallowing in the relegation waters right now. Remo Stars. Let's move on to athletics now, where the AIU, that's the Technical Integrity Unit of World Athletics, have handed a 3-year ban to Nigeria's long distance runner, Blessing Solomon, after she tested positive to a prohibited substance. Pedro, I've heard people talk about, oh, it's a mistake, I didn't know. Yeah, Arturo said he took the pills for his pregnant wife. Sharapova didn't know about it and everything. My take is, as a professional player, as a professional athlete, you should not eat everything. You have to check what goes into your stomach, because even if your excuse is genuine, if I intentionally do it, I'll give the same excuse. Is it the athletes that should be blamed, or what exactly the problem? Why some intentionally took it and we know, but those that will say it's a mistake, there's still no mistake in the court of law.
Ignorance, they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. In as much as you are a professional athlete in any sporting discipline, and of course you do earn money for what it is you practice, you always have to follow the rule to the letter. You know, there are some established athletes. What they do is that they get a backroom team, of which there'll be a physio there, someone who a nutritionist there, and also a food scientist that is there. All those persons, they don't just call people to just occupy these positions. Those persons are being hired to do a job, and which is that job? Okay, to see to my optimum, to help me perform optimally when it comes to sports. That means, of course, what goes into my system, there's always an improved and an updated list of prohibited and banned substances. So all these persons will have to be continually check to see, this is the latest supplement or that has been, or substance rather, that has been added to previous list. That we cannot take this one. This can be found when you buy, say, probably when you make bread, or probably you make dough, or probably there are some fizzy drinks that these particular substances are part of what make up this the content of the drink. So you just I won't be able to take this because of that. Also, there are some treatments too that you would have to undergo. That the drugs, that the medication rather, that would be prescribed would contain some of these illicit substances, but you will not be able to take them. That even though that will make your recovery period to be a little more longer, but you have to take that sacrifice, because if you fall foul in the eyes of the world now, there will just be this thing hovering around you, hovering about you and your head. You think everybody will think that it's covering. Nobody now will want to give any athlete now the benefit of the doubt. Everybody just bracket everybody and say, everybody says the same thing. Everyone says the same thing.
If you ask any criminal now, they'll tell you
exactly. So just save yourself all these things. So for Blessing Solomon, that has been tested positive, even though I have no idea of what it was, the banned substance in itself.
Where is that? Trimetazidine.
Oh,
that's what they called it.
Yeah, trimetazidine. Okay. So for that now, she would have to ask herself, how
medication used to prevent angina attacks.
Okay, now, how come you did not consult with a health professional? Even if you do not have the funds to say hire your own personal. Yes,
There's this thing here. I don't know if she's in Lagos, but in Lagos, there's this thing called the Liraiko.
Of course,
it's hard for it to make life easier, but for their level, I don't think it will be that bad. I can't even get a personal private consultant. So I don't think any excuse will be legit enough for her.
And this thing doesn't actually, athletics in Nigeria currently is not in a good place. For the fact that of course we go for tournaments and we hardly medal now when it comes to the global stage. Now we've had a lot of defections, several defections, as in our elite athletes having to dump Nigeria to go.
Favors are left Nigeria.
Exactly. So favor is not favoring Nigeria now at the moment. One, Turkey, now the other one, Qatar. It is not now. We've also had drug issues, bans and all the likes in the last couple of years. I think the house was 10. Then they now added one more because they say she refused to cooperate. That made it 11. There was no word from her, nothing like that. So just made it 11. So of course her career was done and dusted. So, but this one is just the final nail on the coffin to you are done for, in as much as athletics is concerned in life. So now athletics is not in the best of positions at the moment. Apart from I spoke of the defections. Now the drug case now. It doesn't even paint us in a good light. It's not the case that we are even winning medals. Yes, one of the elite. We may likely go back if these things continue. It is bad enough that we are not even winning medals. Now we are being banned, and not that we are even seeing the result of it. There's a part, there's this small adage, in the eastern part of the country. They say if you want to eat frog, you eat the biggest one, the best ones, so that when they call you frog eater, you shake your head and say, yes, I'm a frog eater, and I ate the best one. So not you take any stage that just comes out. Now, you are being banned now. You did not actually win a medal. You did not put your name in the limelight. So what is it? Are you getting banned for?
Well, hopefully they settle it. Maybe if she appeals, they may reduce it. But I know she'll go on that ban.
Of course, of course,
Appeal can only reduce your suspension.
for the fact that they gave her 3 years, that would mean that perhaps she must have cooperated to a good, because standard is 4 years.
But at least enough of bad news. This one is a good one here. Following an impressive outing at the World Power Badminton Championship in Bahrain, Nigeria's player and Olympic medalist Eniola Bolaji has climbed to world number 1 in the women's SL3 category of the latest rankings, which was released by the Badminton World Federation this week. The multiple national and African champion dethroned Indonesia's Konita Iktea from the top of the rankings. Bolaji won silver medal at the 2026 World Badminton Championship in Bahrain, losing 2-0 at 21-12, 21-17 in the final to Japan's world number 7 Shino Kawai at the new Capitol Hall on Valentine's Day. This apparently later on this making us proud, so no need to tell much on it. But
well, speaking of Eniola Bolaji, this is not surprise because she's one. Don't forget that she actually competed at the last Paralympics in Paris. And she was just one of 2 athletes, Nigerian athletes, that came back home with a medal. We had just 2 bronzes, and she was actually one of those 2 athletes that came home with a bronze medal. Paralympics has always been one of Nigeria's strongest points, whereby we go, we get medals and all that. Then the last one was, even by our standards, the poorest. But despite the poor nature of our outing, Eniola Bolaji, ensured that at least our name we featured on both the podium, and of course when they call roll call of nations who were medalists, Nigeria was also part of them. So 2 years, less than 2 years down the line, having to ascend the top as world number 1. Oh, that is lovely. At least I used to feel, of course, I used to feel terrible, not just bad. I used to feel annoyed and angry when Nigeria is always list of corrupt nations, list of countries that are happy people. Nigeria, of course, we are not happy people, even though they say we are suffering and smiling. And also they say, with least life expectancy, we are always all the wrong ends of all this world list. But thankfully now, because when it goes to, even if it's para sports, we are at least, it is something. We are share number 1 for something good. So we really hope that it can go further from here. And I believe in our subsequent outings, maybe before, of course, the next Paralympics in Los Angeles, should also medal again, not just any kind of medal, probably gold this time around, which will be one of the highest points for her career.
So now let's move on to where the conversation gets exciting. In fact, Kingsley would drop his tall take on eggshell, the contract situations and everything. But according to reports from one of our colleagues, Shino Oludare, they made investigations on the contract situations with eggshell, and they came that the proposed terms and figures from the eggshell's team. Number 1, a private car, that's an SUV, with a chauffeur and a security. Number 2, house in a well-secured environment with 24 hours uninterrupted power supply. Even that's what I had to do so. 3, furnished office with projector for analysis. 4, internet provision. 5, flight tickets for wife and 2 children. Michelle and the wife will do business class, the children will do economy. While I'm talking, I'll still wait for Penny, but these are the places where I've been making my checks easily. I don't think if you want to fly your family yourself, it shouldn't be us. Also, I'm talking about the nation that will pay for flights for your family. 6, GPS provision. I don't understand this one though. 7, supply of proper equipment in accordance to the coach's demand. 8, based on opponents, the coach has the right of choice regarding international friendly matches. Rachel, let me say this to you, like, it's not your business. Your business is not to select friendlies or make decisions. They tell you the team we are playing. That's the job of some people. Yours is to prepare the team ahead of that. For this one, off it. 9, camping programs. 10, the coach will initiate programs for new development. Lovely. 11, provisions for the coach to travel, watch and monitor and engage players of the national teams abroad. 12, provision for the coach to travel to watch a local league to identify potential players that will be integrated into the senior national teams on the 23, on the 20, and even on the 17. No interference in team selection and players' color. I hope this one works. 14. The NFF has to issue a working contract for my staff. 15. Salary needs to be paid on or before 30th of every month. So when will you collect February? Okay. Bonus and allowance as per federation structure. 17. Request to include my PA in the bonus and allowance structure. This one makes absolutely no sense. So we'll give your PA bonuses and there's no sense in this one at all. I don't even think
if you're having
your PA in the first place salary, then add your PA to bonus and allowance. That's total. They call it bull crap. It's not gonna work. 18. Proposed salary of $130,000. The amount included all my technical staff and PA. Bro, you are joking. The team they are owing the country that is owing you $50,000. You pay $130,000. Don't put your PA on the budget of the nation. If they want to, they probably will tell from the beginning, get a PA, we will pay. But if you are bringing in the PA yourself, I don't think we should be the one to pay. We are still even talking salary. Then you are saying they should add your PA to bonuses and allowance. 0 cents there if you ask me. Then 19. Monthly meeting with all national team coaches. Many or most of the things there are basic things that you just need to write them down. Like providing internet, projector, and those things should be basic. But when many coaches request for offices in Nigeria, especially foreign coaches, do they even stay here? That's another thing. Yeah, because it's waste. If you're in Nigeria only 2-3 times in a month, it's waste. Why not just stay in a hotel for that period? Some coaches probably, maybe he has not even stepped into Nigeria since AFCON. Apart from when it was his African governor that invited him and everything. So if you are not going to be staying in the country, I think it's going to be a waste of money getting an apartment for you, 247 light security and everything. But let me throw it to Pedro. What do you think in all these stories from the manager? It is allegedly and it's proposed. NFF can still approve some and reject some.
Of course, now the Football Federation that we all know, that we've all grown up with all the years, all our lives, they will not approve. At least more than half of those stuff will still be. But let us just assume that this is what we're working with, because this is actually an alleged proposal from the head coach. So anyway, is he deserving of a raise? Yes, he is. Going by his on the field contributions and advancement and improvement, of the Nigerian national team, the Super Eagles. What I would suggest the Football Federation to do when it comes to accommodation for your national team coaches, you can always buy a building, buy a property.
Yeah, let it be for
exactly. Let it just be for this will be for any of the coaches that when it comes to the senior national team.
Put all the coaches in the same.
Let's say
same apartment, the same enclosed. They are closed. There are some streets it's a close.
Yeah, something like a mini
buildings and all those things. If you don't want to do take one flat in one building, at least the house 1 is for the coach, his family, whatever. House 2 maybe for his assistants. House 3 maybe on the 17 coach.
Yeah,
so they won't be there permanently.
Exactly.
For a period, so
yes.
Whenever.
The house is forever. The property is forever in the NFF's.
And it will likely be in Abuja because that's the capital city.
Yes, maybe Abuja, Lagos, or in Rivers, wherever. We just know, this property is in the name of the Nigeria Football Federation, and whenever we have a head coach for the senior men's national team, I'm not talking of the other levels now. At least for the Super Eagles, yes, anytime it can always be modernized, renovated. However, but just this is the building this is the property for you, and that is it. Then for, like you said, you should not put your personal assistant. The word, it is explanatory in itself. Personal, you got the person. So let's see if the federation asks if just get an executive assistant. Now,
for example, as the coach, if you're under contract, the country, for example, since if there was no AFCON in January, December, after November, the next game would have been till March.
Yeah.
So why would we pay PA for December, January, February?
For the month of inactivity.
You know, as a manager, you are active, you are still going around scouting for players. Even the assistant coaches don't even have contract. They get paid when they come to camp. So
yes.
Your PA we should have paid for the way.
A lot of these demands, he is right in demanding them. Do not get me wrong. However, going by the Football Federation that we have and the funding problems that we've experienced over the years, he will just not have the best that he will get. Probably the accommodation, one, a slight increase when it comes to his take-home pay. That is two. As for that of the PH will not work. That of the wife and children, that also will not work. I know my Football Federation well. Then also having a say in the number of the quality of friendlies. The Football Federation, friendlies are a way of sourcing revenue. So if a country,
now that Jordan and Iran are the ones who invited us,
yeah, they will pay us because they are not on your level. You want to exactly. It's part of you are seeking for a so and so amount to be paid. If they don't take up these friendly games, how will you get paid? You know, and you're asking for money for your staff and also PA. If they do not get work, because if you don't work, you don't get paid. So these are the little games that will force them to work in a bid for them to get paid.
Even if the PA will get paid at the end by the federation, the PA should never get any bonus allowance, because the PA is not even meant to be a cap. Technically, it's not an invitation for him.
Yeah, yes. The PA does not actually add value to the Nigerian. It's not actually adding something, you know. So it's not the case that okay, I employed a videographer that okay, he will just do okay, you know that okay, he's covering the national team, and that you have to now analyze data from that said video. You know, okay, that person is still contributing value, adding value to the national team, but not the personal assistant. Like it is just adding value to only you as a person, not to the country.
Not the way they say local balance. Eggshell on your PO.
Unless he just wants to put the federation in a tight spot, so that when the federation, he knows that they will not be able to give him what he wants. So
don't just sign for a different agency.
Exactly. So probably this is just one of those ploys to just move or jump ship to the Tunisian national, because now that the Marseille gig is
I will tell you still have a contract with us.
Yeah, so now that
you buy out your contract, or they buy out, or you wait and fulfill the 1 year left.
Well, so since Marseille did not have Habib BA as a manager, they still went for the African thing, a coach of color. So you may not actually want to.
The Marseille thing was more like his agency trial.
Yeah, of course, we knew that of course.
If you don't sign, you do Marseille.
Yeah, so but now that the Tunisia gig is like okay, double your salary on 100,000, it will always come on time. Please, what do you guys want to do? What do you guys want to say? You know. So, but I feel he may take the Tunisia gig, you know. But I think the next 1 month will be.
So whichever thing you decide to do, it's on him. There's no beef for it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's business.
Yes, business after. But I hope they will all come to a let's say a peaceful, a compromise, a peaceful conclusion. You know, I wouldn't want the NFF to hold him, or just, you know, of course. He has done well for you. Let everybody end things amicably. Fine. You may want to extract some money based on he had some a contract, a valid one at that, with the federation. You can just Tunisia. Okay, how much will you pay to let us? You know, you don't have to pay everything, but just pay something that okay, we'll let him go for you. He can go and have his 100,000, and he will go to the World Cup.
50K in a year is about
600. 600. 600.
100 is 1.2, so that's 600,000.
Yes.
Just pay NFS 100,000.
Yes, that's the if they can okay, we'll give you 150, 200 just to let him go. Just okay.
Just collect the thing and go from there. Well, Event for Predo is giving you a sane advice as the NFF, as the Shell, even HSC, that's the NSC, not HSC.
Yes, the National Sports Commission.
I hope you all listen to this thing. Have a level playing ground. Let everyone compromise one way or the other. Settle the rift of the new contract that is expected to sign from Eric Chel. Even if he doesn't sign, he still has months left on his current contract.
If you think about Eric Chel and U19, is it conditions or requirements to remain as the coach of the Super Eagles? The thing about it is, if you know this country very well and how it works, I won't be surprised if before we even go on air, the NFF will debunk it and say they've not seen anything as such. and then we now start tracing the story and then find out that, oh, somebody cooked it somewhere, just like the Marseille news was cooked, and then everything just spirals down to, oh, okay, come sit at the table. What do you want? What can we give you? Oh, we cannot meet his demands and we cannot meet his needs, so he has to walk away. Because I feel that what Richard did for himself at the Africa Cup of Nations was redemption. Immediately after the World Cup qualifiers and that we lost to DR Congo via penalties, he was fired. He was asked to go for not qualifying Nigeria for the World Cup. I feel that his stock will not be this high. I don't think some top sides will be looking his way. But having him stick with the team, having him stay around, I think we did him a huge favor having him stay around and then take the team to the AFCON, because the team got to the AFCON and then they played scintillating football. I even saw Yature say, oh, that the Super Eagles of Nigeria were the best side at the just concluded AFCON. I know that raised a lot of arguments. Did we play well? Maybe, just maybe, we played better football than even both sides that played at the final. That's Morocco and eventual winner Senegal. I think we can really argue that, because I really really loved our attacking football, the way it would be. Lukman, Osimhen, the way these guys played up top. I think they really really did well for the fan. Adam Laka also really did so well for themselves. So you can argue that maybe we're actually the best side at the AFCON. So now you now look at that coach not going to the World Cup, and then you have a team like Tunisia, we have also heard, and looking at the retail. They might say, come over and come and take charge. We know that Tunisia can pay times 2 or times 3 of whatever the Super Eagles will get to pay, a manager to take them to the World Cup. And it might just be, the contract might just be just for the World Cup. Oh, just come and take us to the World Cup. Take us to the World Cup, and maybe if you now do well, you might renew. And it works for Richel. Because if you don't take that deal, if you have that kind of deal on the table, and you don't take that deal, when the World Cup starts, you'll be at home. Or maybe you also get a job like us, doing punditry. You understand what I mean? During the World Cup, meanwhile, you can be a part of the World Cup. You can lead a team to the World Cup if you take a job like that of you get Tunisia. So I just feel like Richel has found himself in a very, very good position. There's no need. It's just a Nigerian situation where some stories will fly around, and then this one will debunk, that one will debunk. But at the end of the day, we all know where we are going to. We all know what we are doing. What was planned initially will still get done at the end of the day. But some people don't just want to. They don't want a situation where they will now feel like maybe we are the bad guys, or we are not reasonable enough, and that's why you see that some of these stories will come out, and then people now come out to debunk. Don't be surprised if this story is debunked. I won't be surprised, but my advice for Eric Chell is that, see, if the Super Eagles cannot give you what you want, and you find a country that can get you what you want, please take it. Just take it and move on. Take it and move on. I think Nigeria will sort ourselves. We'll find a way. We are not going to the World Cup, so it's not a new thing for us to start all over again. I think right now, we now need to go to that drawing board that we have been going to for the past 30, 40 years. Look for a coach, give him a long-term plan, for the vows for the next AFCON, for the vows for the next World Cup, you take charge of all our games. I think it's better that way, and that coach will be cheaper because the retail stock has risen. And I don't even think we can afford him right now. Yeah, it's that bad. When we talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria, it's that bad that I don't think we can afford a retail, right? That if it's asking for $130,000, or even if it's $100,000 every month, I don't think that we can afford that. How much was the seller asking for that we couldn't even renew? So it's a cycle. It's a cycle. Our football is in shambles. And it cuts across. By extension, our sports also is in shambles. Some persons have argued that why give Richel $130,000? Why not just go for somebody that can collect 20 or 30? The remaining 100 or 80, spread it across, other sports sport, invest it in athletics, boxing, and these are other sports that can get you medals at the next Olympic, at the next Commonwealth Games, instead of just focusing on football. And when I say football, it's not the entirety of the national team, it's always the Super Eagles of Nigeria, because I don't think we've done enough for the under 23, under 20, under 17, the Falcons, the Flamingos, the Falconets. And I ask, the promise that the presidency made to the ladies, both the Falcons and the Tigress, has it been redeemed? I just hope that we are not playing politics with all of these things, and maybe we are waiting the next election, they will now release. Well, anything. This is Nigeria. All right, over back to you guys.
Welcome back from that break. It's Premium Sport on PBO TV. You heard it right there from Kingsley Akpan, the amazing Kingsley, his own opinion about the whole Eric Shell saga, the contract, and everything. For those still thinking you'll join Marcel, don't worry, Marcel already appointed a new manager. It's time for Eurofocus. And we're talking about the games for this weekend. Before that, let me just run through the Champions League results in case you missed it. Kingsley may even say one or two things about it, but he'll join us for Eurofocus. Galatasaray came from 2-1 down to thrash Juventus 5-2 in Istanbul. In Monaco led 2-0. They went a man down, but they ended up losing that game 3-2 against PSG. Is it luck for PSG? Last season in the playoff, they played Brest. The friendly goal side thumped them home and away. Now they played another friendly goal side, won the first leg away from home. At the Signal Iduna Park, Dortmund 2-0 winners over Atalanta in Lisbon. And that was when the controversy happened. Real Madrid defeated Benfica 1-0 away from home. Karabag, Newcastle didn't take it easy with them. They were thrashed to 6-1 at home in Belgium. Club Brugge came from 2-0 down, level at 2-2. Atleti led 3-2, but the match ended as 3-3. Then in Greece, Olympiacos lost 2-0 at home to Bayer Leverkusen. Let's move on to the games we have this weekend across the top leagues. Brest will host Marseille. The game is later tonight. Lens and Monaco, PSG, Metz. Nice and Lorient and Strasbourg will take on Lyon in some selected fixtures. In Germany, it's Bayern Munich against Eintracht Frankfurt. RB Leipzig will host Borussia Dortmund. Union Berlin will play against Bayer Leverkusen. Freiburg against Borussia Mönchengladbach. The Heidenheim will host Stuttgart. In the Serie A, we have Juventus, Como, Lecce, Inter, Atalanta, Napoli, AC Milan against Parma, Roma against Cremonese. In the La Liga, there's Real Sociedad against the Real Oviedo. Real Betis will play Real Vallecano. Atletico Madrid will play Espanyol. You can call this one low budget Clásico because it's a Madrid club and a Catalan club here. Villarreal and the Madrigal will play against Valencia. Getafe and the Coalition will play against Sevilla. Osasuna will host Real Madrid. That's supposed to be an exciting game. Real Madrid sometimes struggle against Osasuna, but they always find ways to win. And Barcelona will host Valencia club Levante. Let's move on to the Premier League. Aston Villa will be at home at the Villa Park against Leeds United. At the Bridge, it's Chelsea against Burnley. Nottingham Forest, after thrashing Liverpool 3-0 at Anfield in the first leg, they will be welcoming the Reds to the City Ground this weekend. Manchester City at the Etihad will play against Newcastle United. Top game that is expected to be. Man United Monday night will play away to Everton. The big one would be in the Hot G's. That's the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium between Spurs and Arsenal. We also have a very, very, very crucial, very critical, very fragile conversation in the Hot G. So let's go on this break right now. We'll come back with some time for the Hot G's. Welcome back from that break. It's the final lap of the show. It's time for Hot Gist. Well, the gist is always very, very hot, and where best to start from. Now, what we expect is not just a derby. It's not just a London derby. It's North London derby between Tottenham Spurs and Arsenal. Arsenal played in midweek. They could have extended the lead over Man City to 7. Yes, they would have played one more, but they could only play a draw thanks to a very late own goal, in my opinion, by Calafiori. Now, back to a tough game in the Premier League this weekend. Chelsea also, Man City also have a tough game against Newcastle, but they can see defeat the Blackpires. But Pedro, can Arsenal win away to Spurs? Because in their last 7 games, the Gunners have won only 2. Do you think they'll drop points again this weekend?
It depends on what the new manager for Spurs bring. Yes, Igor Tudor. Okay. So, but be that as it may, Igor Tudor comes in. He may have players, of course, at his beck and call to choose and use from. But the fact still remains that some of the top players from the first 11, they are still out due to injury. Your Kudus, your Kulusevski and the likes, they are still out injured. So it now depends on what Igor Tudor will muster up on that particular day. Not just bringing in bodies. You have to instill in them that mindset. Okay, we have to get this. We have to win. If not for anything, at least maybe Spurs might kickstart their own revival, because they are so way.
Football has shown over the years that if it's not working, just sack the manager. It's not. Well, it's not
okay, no, Man U not for only this one. Yeah, it is working now.
Sometimes it's not that the manager is not good, it's just not working for that period. And now they've sacked Thomas Frank. He got 2 days on board.
Now the thing is that for Thomas Frank, now I'll say he was unlucky. It was working in Europe, but it wasn't working at home.
Can he pause aside Arsenal's guy?
It maybe the Gotudo that I've come to know in these last 2 spells, both the one at Marseille and also the one at Juventus, you give teams a run for their money, and not just in, of course, looks likely, but for this Arsenal,
his name is Pedro Peter.
yeah,
I did not say anything.
it looks likely. Normally, you made mention of Arsenal winning just 2 of their last 7 fixtures. It is poor for a side aiming to win the title, but in that instant they just lost one. Now Arsenal, they are in that zone whereby the wins may be hard to come by, but they are far from losing.
But draw.
But the thing with draws is that if you have them so much,
the 5 matches they didn't win, they drew 4 and lost 1. If they draw 6 games, that's the same thing as losing 4 matches.
Yes, but in this one now, I don't think from now to the end of the season, Arsenal will only lose 1 more game. I can say it anywhere. That is the thing. I don't think they will lose to Spurs.
They have,
it may be a derby, and you know what they say about derby. The form flies out the window. They'll still play Newcastle. I think Chelsea. Yeah.
Have they played Roman? Okay, they play second leg Liverpool. Or have they played second leg?
They played Liverpool. They are done with Liverpool.
Oh, yeah,
they drew both home and away.
So they have 4 top fixtures. So if they don't win those games, even if they don't lose,
Chelsea,
no, let's assume
maybe.
Let's assume
Newcastle.
Crystal Palace. It means technically they are maybe 2 points ahead of the Blues now. This guy, what? Let's have a look at it.
So I'll give my final take on this particular fixture. It is one that I personally would love to see. Many football fans would want to see it, because there are a lot of subplots riding on this one, and also how does Arsenal?
Okay, let's do this. Do you think Arsenal will win the Premier League? Not what you thought 2 months ago. Based on what you said, does it look
no, they will not.
People say City are not the same thing.
They are not. Of course, they may not be the same, but they are still doing what a City-esque side would do. That's to tell you the level of work that Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan, they put in those triumphant City sides of the last couple of seasons. But for this particular one, they may not be as 100% capability of that side, but they will do enough to just derail Arsenal. Trust me, if should City win the league, this will be his Guardiola's finest season.
That's what I told you. No, even if he wins the league, he will leave in the summer.
Of course, you will leave. That will be.
Maybe he may want, but if he wins the league,
he will leave in the summer. He's living on a high, and in fact, this will be his best season, because then City had the best side. They are one of the best. So you knew that they would win. Who were the closest challengers? You say Liverpool, because Liverpool too, at that point when Klopp was, they were super good too. But this one, trust me, even Guardiola himself was like, he never thought he would win the league. It would be his best, not even the 100 points. Fine, it is significant too, but he will take this season more than the 100 points, and also the one where he won all domestic titles in Yeah, in that particular year. So this one will be, I think, it will be his finest season. Fine, he may have spent money, of course. Who doesn't spend? The same Arsenal that we are pushing out to win the league. He has spent also close to 1 billion too since he took over. So it is a money business. It is a money game. You spend to get the result. You don't spend, you see the results. Even after spending, Man U, Tottenham Hotspurs, you now imagine when the Spurs spent 45 million on Brennan Johnson, they now sold him for a loss 34. They're about to Crystal Palace. Now, is it not a case of having spent money, but why is that money not working for you? Dominic Solanke, 60 million, Richarlison another 60 odd million, Kudus around 50 plus million. The Spurs have been spending, but it is not reflecting. Anyway, it's just how it is. But I think Spurs. Exactly. So Spurs may just have a thing or two to say, when it comes to the North London derby, and also it will probably kickstart their own revival as they aim to probably just push up the table. Let's see, probably they will qualify for Europe, because I don't think they will qualify for the Champions League again, by going by where they are in the table and the number of games remaining. I don't think they will qualify for the Champions League like directly, except if they win the competition outright. Of course, we know that their quality, it is different. It pales far in comparison with your Bayerns, your Barcelonas, your Madrid. You may say anything you like about Madrid, but trust me, put Madrid and Spurs any day, anytime. Madrid do not even need to train. They'll beat this Spurs side comfortably, in fact, with a healthy scoreline. So let's just see what the North London derby has in store for us.
Well, you've heard it from Pedro there. Let's see what he has in store for us. Whether the new manager bounce from those boys will help them win, or the Arsenal will just continue what they started. This campaign will get to final. But let's move to a not so pleasant story. In Lisbon on Tuesday, Real Madrid defeated Benfica by a lone goal. That wasn't the story. Vinicius scored literally the goal of the week and one of the best goals so far in the UEFA Champions League. He went to the corner flag, did a dance celebration, and the fans were throwing things at him, booing him. Then he did this jersey thing to raise his jersey up. And the ref, which I thought was emotional, decided to give him a yellow card for it. If I think the whole problem with the whole thing was Cristiano, who, while Vinicius was even dancing, has been trying to go at him. When he was raising his, he wanted to get a go at him as well. Then Vinicius was lamenting, surprised at the yellow card. Moments later, we saw him cover his mouth. Set of things, obviously. Then Vinicius ran to the referee. He could read his lips. I was calling me like mono. Mono means monkey in Spanish. It caused chaos. The referee had to stop the game for a bit. Abelard said they asked him afterwards. We saw Jose Mourinho. One look appeared like he was begging him in the video. Then after the match, everything, scatter, everywhere scattered, everything, but they continued. We let go. Then after the match, Mourinho said he was telling Vinicius that you don't do like that, you don't celebrate like that. Just go and walk away. The greatest club player, one of the greatest players in this club is a black man. They are not a racist club, blah blah blah. The player said he didn't say mono. That I said is hermano, which means brother. Then I saw a report that was attributed to Trameli that he told him or told the players afterwards that he called him a faggot. So these are three different things. But one thing I know is there's no way in the hell you will call someone your brother.
You covered your mouth. That is silly. That is silly. If he thought, of course, we've known that many footballers, a lot of footballers, they don't go to school and all that. So if he thought,
like him, I don't have sense.
if he thought that he was speaking to his 4-year-old in his neighborhood.
Our editor should play the video again. If you saw immediately Vinicius went to the referee, if you saw Cristiano's reaction, you know he knew what he did. Because naturally, if me and you spoke, I didn't say anything, but you ran to the referee. But his reaction was like so he knew what he did. I like that the referee messed up already, my opinion, with the yellow card thing.
The referee was silly. He was one that actually kickstarted that chain of event, that line of incidents that followed.
Mourinho about people that does every crazy celebrations in stadiums, everything, players and all. But everything put together, now there's an investing. Then Benfica as a club, I think they're a disgrace. They came up with a statement after nobody could have heard what he said. Only the Nandri diagram, the distance, no other person could have heard. Blah blah blah. We support our player. Liverpool did something that stupid a few years ago with Suarez. I'm not saying throw your player under the bus, but make a firm statement that oh, I'm not sure what was said yet. We don't support racism. Blah blah blah. Just put something out. Then I saw a video of one of my fans ranting that they should get him out of their club. Blah blah blah. But after this match, a reporter was reporting the game outside. He was harassed. The guy literally ran away with his cameraman and everything. So it's an institutional thing. And there is no way in the hell anybody should survive. Should support racism. And I'm here seeing people blame Vinicius. He caused it. He started it. He's done so.
No, that is a silly takes from.
That's the exact same thing Roger Miller did in 1990 that we were all celebrating. Go to the corner flag and dance. Then someone said it was that.
In fact, Jean-Philippe Mateta, he kicks the flag when he scores a goal.
So he went to dance. Some say he went to dance in front of the Benfica flag.
And so
they remove their flag. They don't put this normal
the normal yellow or UEFA flag now, whatever.
Dance in the front of the opponent. I say so.
Yeah, and so
wow. You run back to the other end. Before I just
no. First things first.
Still bring his opinion on this one as well, but let me hear from
first things first. The referee was somewhat indirectly the cause of what actually happened. You know, by dishing out or by brandishing that yellow card, that booking, he set the chain for what followed. Then secondly, Prestiani is as silly as the word as the word silly can be. You know, for what he did on the pitch, and not just that, for whatever he said afterwards. If he thought he was talking to the little ones in his house or probably in his grandfather's village, that is his business. You know, he actually got it wrong. You know, for him to think that we are all kids that would say, okay, oh, this is what you said, is even more stupid than the word stupid sounds on paper. Now, away from Prestiani, for Mourinho, his post-match comments, I was not pleased with that. I am actually a Mourinho aficionado. I love what he has achieved in his career. I can still vouch for him any day, anytime. But his post-match statements are a no-no for me. I know as human beings, we may not be on our best behaviors 100% of the time, and sometimes we get to act like a babies or toddlers. You know, there's this childish thing that just comes out of us once in a long while. I will just take it that was what happened to Mourinho in that post-match conference. So I'll just leave it at that. But he gets no props from me. You know, I will not give him a tap on the back or a pat on the back for what he said, because that is also off. That is not the true state of things. You know, so but be that as it may, I will just pardon him for that. You know, it happens to the best of us. We get to miss yarn, you know, every once in a while. Then for the club itself, Benfica, you know, it is better you do not just say anything than putting out what you've said. So I'll just leave it at that. It is silly from the club as an institution, who have actually won this competition twice. So and for people talking about Vinicius, like, come on. Everybody just at this point now, they are just picking on the young lad. He doesn't score, you make a mountain out of a molehill. He doesn't do this, they are the ones that will bring out his stats in 45 minutes against this. 0 dribbles, zero lost balls, lost possession 10 times, this and that. You are still on his, okay, he scores now, oh, Golazo, okay, now he's celebrating, now you are still on his case. So what do you want the poor boy to do? However, Vinicius should just continue with what he does. You know, he finds joy in not making opposition players. Continue doing that. Score your beautiful goals. Score your goals. Make celebrate and call it a day. Brazilians I don't know. We are losing touch of why a lot of persons fell in touch with. I have never liked Brazil for their footballing prowess, but of course it is that prowess that is what we've known them for. Dribbling and all that. It is a travesty now that Brazilian players, they are now being, they are being turned to system players. That is, they have to now follow in the way of, okay, these modern coaches, okay, 3 at the back, 4 at the back, inverted wingers, this and that. Brazilians, they are not known for that. Everybody from attack to maybe the goalkeeper in a way, everybody are born to juggle, play with the ball, romance the ball, let the ball be your friend, and let the ball, express what your feelings, what you actually want to do on the field. Brazilians are known for that. So just let them be. Let us enjoy our football and not just leave. Normally now we are not talking of the scoreline now and the implications now for the second leg. What is We are not talking about racism. No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. As for Prestiani, you should just watch his head if he's coming to Madrid for the second leg, because if the fans do not get at him, opposition players, they will give him tackles. I don't think he will play 90 minutes. If Mourinho is actually smart, you just drop him for the second leg. Yeah, probably, just. And I think, now for Benfica now, prior to what happened now, away from that, I think they put a decent performance, as in trying to make sure that they knew that, haven't defeated Madrid as recently as when they did 4-2 to just make the playoffs. Madrid will not just allow them again. So, and they themselves know that Madrid were wounded and would want to come at them. Madrid did. But Benfica, they did their own in making sure that at least the defense line marshaled by the captain, Nicolas Otamendi, they held firm. They protected their back line and the goalpost. It's of course, for you to breach them, it had to take a moment of brilliance, and that brilliance came in the second half via Vinicius Jr. So nobody will say, Benfica they did not do well, or they did not put up a good performance. But now they will have to replicate that next, of course, in the matter of days when they go for the return leg. But this time around, now they will not just want to show up their defense line. They now have to score if they want to actually make the round of 16 proper. So all these things now, of course, with the Vinicius drama, it is making for a fine reading when the second leg comes in view. Now, don't forget, Mourinho will not be on the dugout because he himself was red carded. What he said, I don't know. You imagine now you are coming to your, where you made name well over 15 years ago and all that, but you will not be on the touchline. You'll just be somewhere in the director's box or somewhere in the stands. Probably that may be Benfica's own doing, because having your coach by the sidelines, talking is different, from he's somewhere there. He can only just meet them during halftime, before and probably after the fixture. Maybe if they do enough to qualify. But Abela should watch it. If Madrid lose at home, there will be serious or dire consequences. It is good now that they are now back on top of La Liga and at least 2 points above, ahead of Barcelona. That is at least that is good. On the home front, they are covered. So they just need to make sure that their European adventure continues.
Well, you've heard it from Pedro Peter right now. He's giving his verdict on what happened with Saga and scandal. At the same time, let's pause for now and hear what Kingsley Akpan has to say.
Good to be back. I think for the UEFA Champions League, aside the drama that happened, right there in Portugal, Benfica, Real Madrid, Cristiano, Vini Jr. and all that debacle, Jose Mourinho's response that did not go down well and all of that. I think these playoffs really, really, lived up to his billing and expectations. I saw some results that I did not see coming at all. I did not see some of these results coming. Newcastle going to win 6-1 away from home. Anthony Gordon scoring 4 goals. This one, really, really blew my mind. I won't lie to you. And then Bodo Glimt beating Inter Milan 3-1. I don't think I also saw that coming. Inter are like the big boys, one of the big boys when they talk about the UEFA Champions League. And then, losing away from home, I think Bodo Glimt will be my team of the round, because it might be difficult for Inter to beat them 2-0. It's not impossible. It might be difficult for Inter to beat them 2-0. Have the San Siro and they don't get to score, because I see Bodo Glimt as a side of attacking football. That was the same team. I think they also beat Manchester City or thereabouts in the course of the tournament. I think they also played a 2-2 draw. Was it with Chelsea or so? I can't remember right now. Let's not forget that last season this team went all the way, was it not, to the semi-finals of the Europa League. So this is a team that they play fantastic football. You just love to watch them, play. They've got very exciting players, counter-attacking football that they're just a joy to watch. So I really like what they did, and I also mentioned our Nigerian brothers, Club Brugge and Atletico Madrid, getting to see Rafael Onyedika and Ademola Lookman in the same team, in the same match, scoring for both sides. It finished 3-3. I think I also loved, to see that one happen. Nigerian players at the highest level. It was not too good for me. Olympiacos losing at home to Bayer Leverkusen and having Bruno Yemechi on the bench. I was expecting to see him, start that particular one. But now they've lost at home. I don't think they will make it into the next round. It was just good, good to see all of that. I think Real Madrid, they'll move past this racism issue. I don't think Vinicius Jr. Yes, I know he also has his own antics, and I think he should find a way to not make himself always the target. I know it might not be something that he can solve himself. It might not be something that he can sort by himself. But if I'm to look at it, the last maybe 7 or 8 racism issue or racial issue that we've had, Vinny Jr. has taken maybe 5 to 6 of it. You understand what I mean? So I don't know why it's happening. I think they're just targeting him. I think maybe there are some back end issues that we really do not know why it's happening. I think that's the angle Jose Mourinho was trying to, point out, but he did it in a very, very wrong manner. You can't tell the player how to jubilate. Jose Mourinho is one of those coaches that will run down the length of the pitch because your team scored maybe a late goal. So I just feel that when you talk about that particular incident and that particular conversation, not a good one, not a good one. Racism in football for me is a no-no. When teams, go to play, when players are on that pitch, it doesn't matter the color of their skin. They should just do their job, play their football. And I also feel that maybe FIFA have not come down hard enough on the perpetrators of this nonsense. Ban teams ban individuals for life, deduct points from players or from teams, I beg your pardon, let them lose 3 points or let them even be banished and just tell them, you are no longer, maybe if you are in the league, you go down to the lower league. If drastic measures are not taken, this thing will still continue. We are talking about Vini today. What happens tomorrow? Which other player will now be the one who, would have this particular issue of racism? So I just really just find a way, to go around that. Aside from that, I think I enjoyed all the other games in the UEFA Champions League. I'd love to see what will happen next week. I expect some surprises, but I don't think maybe Benfica will beat Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. I don't think that will happen. I think Real Madrid are true. I think Newcastle also will not lose, scandalously at home. But Bodo Glimt, I'd love to see what that team would do. And I think I like what Club Brugge and Atletico Madrid have done. They've taken the game, to the second leg at the Wanda Metropolitano. Anything can happen right there. I'm just picking some of these games that I really, really, did enjoy. And Bodo, I can't live without talking about Arsenal and Mikel Arteta again. Arsenal had 2 games, like 2 matches to play after other teams had played. And Arsenal picked up just 2 points from 2 games against Brentford and Wolves. That's not a title winning performance. That's disgraceful. That's something that they should sack a manager for it. But I know a lot of Arsenal fans are apologetic, have the soft spot for Mikel Arteta and all of that, and they feel I'm always too hard on him as a person. Yes, I'll be too hard on you. If the board have given you all the tools to work with, all the right tools to work with, there's no defense better than Arsenal's defense in the whole of Europe. There's no team in Europe that has the number of players that Arsenal have stacked in midfield. There's no team in Europe that has the number of forward players that Arsenal have stacked in that forward play. So if you can't win the league should be the barest minimum. Win the league and then any other thing can be added onto it, either the League Cup, the FA Cup, or even the UEFA Champions League. But if you can't win the league, and right now you are 5 points ahead of City. City have the game in hand. If they win that game, they cut it to 2. You still have to go to the Etihad in April, which means that it's no longer in your hands. If Pep Guardiola and the City side win all their games, it means that they will win the league. This wasn't so, in the last 1 month or 2 months. That's not when the driving seat. But it just shows that when they call a team, Butlers FC, Arsenal Bottling Company, they just want to show that that's what happens. And I think it all boils down to Mikel Arteta. There's nothing that anyone wants to tell me about this, because I don't know how you bring in players and then you can't use them well. You brought in Victor Gyökeres, who is one of the highest goal scorer in Europe last season, if you remove all the coefficients, and you are not playing to his strength. You are playing cross and not for a Victor Gyökeres that should be putting the ball, he should be chasing the ball and putting the ball in the back of the net. You brought in Christian Nørgaard at the start of the season, a captain for Brentford, a team that plays high press. He has good vision for the ball. He can keep your team. If your team is under pressure, he can relieve you of that pressure. And you have not played this guy. You don't even play him in the league at all. In the two games that he dropped on Wolves and Brentford, Christian Nogard would have played a significant and pivotal role in these two games, and then you don't get to use. I don't know. Your people are happy about him playing Saka in number 10. What has that really done? They've given Bukayo Saka a new deal. I don't have an issue with that. I think 300,000 pounds a week or so. But I've been saying this, time and time again. Saka doesn't bring the kind of spark that I see Lamine Yamal or Mikel Olise do for Barcelona and Bayern. He has not done that in the last 2 seasons. I've not seen Saka do all of that. So what is now the hype about? I feel that we have lowered the bar quite so well for Mikel Arteta and these boys. And the barest minimum should be to win the league. If he doesn't win the league, I think he should be fired. They just fire him. There's no need for dilly-dallying and saying, he built the team. They bought enough materials for him to use to win the league. Kapi won the league with Bayer Leverkusen. He plays at Arsenal. Arsenal has Calafiori, Timber, Ben White, Gabriel Bengalé, Saliba, and co. And then you can't win the league. No, Declan Rice is in that team. Odegaard is in that team. Eze is in that team. So, over to you guys.
Thank you very much, amazing Kingsley. And it's a wrap on this edition of Premium Sport on PBO TV. It's been an exciting show from the top to bottom, from the highs and the lows and everything. But whatever you do, make sure you always enjoy sports, enjoy football, the banter and everything. But we got to go. Just before we go, last weekend, if you follow Peter prediction and you did cut one, you would have been smiling to the back. For this week, this is what Pedro has for us. I hope at the end of the weekend, all your tickets will turn green. Thank you very much to you. Yes, for always following Premium Sport on PBO TV. A big thank you to Pedro Peter for being a part of the show. It's starting off when we call him. It's been an exciting show today. My name still remains Boluwatitonishola Omoni, and it's Premium Sports on PBO TV. Do have a beautiful sporting weekend. Bye.
Premium Box Office TV. Everyone loves premium. Premium Box Office TV is exclusive on StarTimes.